Nitai Gora Haribo. Gora Haribo. Haribo. Nitai Gora Haribo. Narayana Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayit Astapraya Svabhadrisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhagavati Nastiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyanam Trivanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshomilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhastam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadama Hyam Dharati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagna Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajevam Sadhuitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagna Lalita Shivsha Kamtam Shah He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vrishabhanosute Devi Panamami Hare Priya Vanchakapacharubhyascha Kripasindhubhya Vacha Pachitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hare Bol. Hare Krishna devotees, we welcome everybody and we wish everybody a wonderful Krishna conscious day. So for the delay, we had to compromise. Network challenges was kind of, making things slower. So we had to change our location. As in where from the temple hall to a different location, just to be able to keep up with the network and to have today's session going on. So we are very sorry for the late class today. Sometimes situations are beyond our control, but what to do, we have to compromise and do the necessary. So we are all welcome to this morning's reading on the 5th canto of Bhagavatam, chapter 26, which is entitled Hellish Planets. And like we've been saying in this episode of this What's the Hell whole series is to help us understand that our activities are whatever we do, our actions and inactions are we are all going to be accountable for them. Therefore, by knowing this, we are not trying to put any fear or panic, but then we're trying to help us understand that we should be wary of our activities, because whatever action we do, we are going to be liable for the consequences. Therefore, this is to help us and also understand the supremacy of Krishna, how Krishna is, when God is all pervading, and we see his blessings even when it seemingly looks like he's punishing. So that is the whole understanding. So we're going to continue from text 26 from the 5th canto, chapter 26. Dr. Prabhu, happy to have you here, and I hope you're enjoying yourself in Suriname. Okay, so we take today's Sanskrit recitation. 5th canto, chapter 26, text number 24. I presume. Ye tu iha vaiswagar dapapatayo brahmanadayo mrigaya vihara atidhe cha mrigan niganantitan api sampareta laksya putan yama purusa isubi vidyanti. Word for word translation. Ye, those who to but iha in this life, vai all swa of dogs, gadapa and asses, pataya maintainers, brahmana adaya brahmanas, kshatriyas and vaishyas, mrigaya viraya Mregaya Vihara,
Mregaya Vihara,
taking pleasure in hunting animals in the forest.
taking pleasure in hunting animals in the forest.
Atirite,
Atirite,
other than prescribed.
other than prescribed.
Cha,
Cha,
also.
also.
Mregan,
Mregan,
animals.
animal.
Mregananti,
Mregananti,
kill.
kill.
Tan,
Tam,
them.
them.
Api,
Api,
indeed.
indeed.
Samparet,
Sampare,
haven't died.
haven't died.
Lakshya Bhutan,
Lakshya Bhutan,
becoming the target.
becoming a target.
Yama Purusaha,
Yama
the
Purushaha,
assistants of Yamaraj.
the assistant of Yama.
Isubhi
Isubihi,
by arrows.
by arrows.
Vidyanti
Vidyanti,
PS.
PS.
Translation and purport by Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki
Jai.
Jai. Translation. If in this life a man of the higher classes, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, is very fond of taking his pet dogs, mules, and asses into the forest to hunt and kill animals unnecessarily, he is placed after death in a hell known as Prana Roda. There, the assistants of Yamaraj make him their targets and pierce him with arrows. Purports by Srila Prabhupada. In the Western countries, especially, aristocrats keep dogs and horses to hunt animals in the forest. Whether in the West or East, aristocratic men in Kali Yoga adopt fashion of going to the forest and unnecessarily kill animals. Men of higher classes, the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, should cultivate knowledge of Brahman, and they should also give the Sudras a chance to come to that platform. If instead they indulge in hunting, they are punished as prescribed in this verse. Not only are they pierced with arrows by the agents of Yamaraj, but they are also put into the ocean of pus, urine, and stool, described in the previous verse. So, Omamu kwa chene no. The zoo take dogs and then they go in hunting, trying to find innocent animals and kill. Because these animals also they've taken the forest as their habitat, the place with which they are also going to groom their children or their offsprings, train them, take care of them, and live the best of life. But when we go to their environments and try to torment and abuse them, thinking that we are superior beings, therefore we have the right to infringe upon the rights of others without being questioned. This is what is going to await for us. So, I mean, sometimes some of these things are seen to be, I mean, it's common, like in the purple, Prabhupada was talking about in the West. In Africa, it's quite predominant, where people go with these dogs, these hunting dogs, and they chase after these small animals, like the grass cutters and all that, and kill them and bring them out to sell. So these things they are quite dangerous. And we should not take them cheaply or think, oh, this is, I mean, how would you feel if the tiger leaves the forest, come to your bedroom and want to devour you? You are quickly going to chase it out because you tell them this is not where you belong, you know. And so, how or why would you go to the forest, hunt innocent animals? Like people go, and then especially they use deer as a target. They will hunt them unnecessarily, and then bring the game. They call them game. I don't know why they call it game. But perhaps most people are thinking it's a game, but it is not. So they bring the game to the house and they try to kill it and abuse and sell. But then from the Vedas we can understand that the one who kills the animal, the one who sells the animal, the one who buys the selling animal which has been killed, or the killed animal who is being sold, one who cooks, one who eats, they are all going to suffer the reactions. It's the same. You understand? So we should be very careful of these activities and not to think that we are just doing some hunting game. Perhaps they call those animals game because it is a hunting game. I don't know why though. But this is the hell which is awaiting for such people. Srila Prabhupada said that, I mean, let's not paraphrase, let's just read what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Not only are they pierced with arrows by the agents of Yamaraj, but they are also put into the ocean of pus, urine, stool, as described, as we were talking about yesterday. Such people are also put in this ocean. And they are also they are going to be made as targets of Yamaraj, and they are going to be stabbed from all directions. There wouldn't be any space within their body. So, I mean, we should be careful. We should not be thinking that these animals, they don't have anybody to speak for them, or therefore they are only meant for hunting. Because whatever we do, we are all accountable for our activities. And when the consequences come, we should not be blaming anybody. But then we should know that we are suffering because of the activities that we do. You should know that, like people, I mean, they call this abuchi people. They'll I mean, sometimes they'll kill themselves, the animals, they will come and then they will be smoking them, grilling them. Now we call it barbecue. People will be in queue trying to buy the barbecue, and I mean, they'll put a lot of salt, a lot of spices, a lot of onions to make it appetizing. And I mean, and people will queue, and after they buy this, they go and buy club beer, and because those two are perfect combo. They're like husband and wives. And once they get their club, they get their beer, I mean the club, they get this barbecue. The next thing is to look for smoke, right? You get one high grade quality smoke. And then after you've gotten all these three, what will you be looking for? You're looking for one beautiful damsel to go home and sleep with. And in one stroke, we have messed up your whole life by committing whatever crime that one can, or offense or sin that one can ever commit. The four regulatory principles: illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meditating, everything is being done at one stroke. So these are the consequences of sinful activity. You may say, "Oh, this is normal." I mean, why wouldn't we take? But anybody, like, as you are grilling this animal and you are enjoying, you should not be so surprised when your house catch fire and you and your entire family gets burnt. You are burnt alive. Oh, you're crying here and there. No fire service is coming and the fire is burning you, and oh, you're all crazy and all that. You want to go and take your children from the room, while you're also, I mean, burning and all that. I mean, when such situations happens, we should not be blaming anybody. We should not be blaming the fire service because they were low, they were slow, and therefore, I mean, you had some bends or whatever. You lost your family, but we are punished according to our activities. Nobody is innocent. Nobody. We may claim innocency. We may claim that, oh, I mean, we did not know. But then ignorance of the law is no excuse. So please, let's take this very carefully, or I mean, let's note this. So we are continuing to text 26. A person who in this life is proud of his eminent position and who heedlessly sacrifices animals simply for material bondage is put into the hell known or the hell called Visasana after death. There, the assistants of Yamaraj kill him, and after giving him unlimited pain. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 4:41, Krishna says, Suchitam Shre Matam Gehe Yoga Brashto Bijayate. Because of his previous connection with Bhakti Yoga, a man is born into prestigious family of brahmanas or aristocrats. Having taken such a birth, one should utilize it to perfect Bhakti Yoga. However, due to bad association, one often forgets that his prestigious position has been given to him by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he misuses it by performing various kinds of so-called yagyas, like Kali Puja, Durga Puja, in which poor animals are sacrificed. How such a person is punished is described herein. The word Dhamba Jagyesu in this verse is very significant. If one violates the Vedic instructions while performing Jagya and simply makes a show of sacrifice, for the purpose of killing animals, he is punished after death. In Kolkata, there are many slaughterhouses where animal flesh is sold that has been supposedly offered in sacrifice before the goddess Kali. Sastras enjoin that one can sacrifice a small goat before goddess Kali once a month. No, nowhere is it said that one can maintain a slaughterhouse in the name of the temple worship and daily kill animals unnecessarily. Those who do so receive punishment described herein. So animal sacrifices are they are they are quite implicating and complicating. People would, I mean, why would you want to sacrifice an animal? Because we are lazy. Because we do not want to do the needful. Therefore, we have to use the blood of the animal to to balance the real, so that we can enjoy some material comforts. So in the such we have sacrifices in the mode of goodness, sacrifice in the mode of passion, and sacrifice in the mode of ignorance. So sacrifice in the mode of ignorance is that which people offer goats specifically to the goddess Kali for material wealth. For material wealth, they will sacrifice goats or lamb. I don't know whether the difference between goat and lamb. They will sacrifice to Kali, and after that, they will take the remnants. And some also drink the blood of the animal. In some cases, also these Kali servants, they will sacrifice human beings also just to gain material facilities. But when one dies, when we quit this body, even whilst we are living on the planet, one is going to suffer excruciating pain. Excruciating pain. Sometimes for political ambition, sometimes for power, sometimes for fame, sometimes for money, we do all these ghastly rituals thinking that this is all right. According to the scriptures, even the traditional African religion, we do know that sometimes animals are sacrificed when they are doing some rituals for the gods of the land, maybe some water god or something. But then, if the performer of that ritual is not well versed in the ritual, and he so somehow or the other makes any offense or any mistake in doing that activity, he is going to be implicated in that ritual. And I mean, another thing is that if that sacrifice is not done as directly prescribed in the Vedas, one is going to carry the full consequences. How it was explained in the Vedas or in the previous ages was like this: that if you offer an animal in sacrifice for goddess Kali, or maybe you do Aswamedha Jagya, then it was a sacrifice of series of horses for gain of material things. But then the goal was that after the horses or whatever animal is sacrificed, after they are being sacrificed in that ritual, in their next life they have the abilities to jump over all the evolution cycle and then quickly get a human form of life in the next body. So it was kind of a win-win situation. The one who is doing the jagya is going to win. Why? Because he's going to get, material facilities. And the animal which is being sacrificed is going to gain. Why? Because he's going to shoot up the evolution ladder and quickly attain a human form of life, with which he can actually practice devotional service and actually go back home back to Godhead. So it was a win-win situation. But then if you sacrifice animals without following the instructions of the Vedas, then it's a big offense. And even in this Kali Yoga, that sacrifice of animal is strictly forbidden. It is strictly forbidden. So anybody who is doing animal sacrifices and thinking that he is going to be, you might say, oh, that is where I come from, that is a tradition. Yes, traditions are laid down by a group of people who have accepted some standard to be normal, and they have followed that standard for a specific number of years, and it has now been accepted and approved as the tradition of the land. That does not mean that there is no room for modification or for changing. People say like this, oh, there's a tradition that we do this, we do that. But then if the tradition is actually following the dictates of the scriptures and doing those rituals as it is according to the Shastra, then I mean that is fine. But then if we do not know and we are concocting, we are speculating, and we are thinking that we are doing the necessary, and we think tradition is going to protect us when the resultant reactions of the activities come, then I'm sorry. I mean, it cannot really protect. It cannot. So therefore, we should be extremely wary when we do these things. We should be extremely wary. We should be careful because the animals that we are sacrificing, they are going to rebel. Nature is going to speak for them. You might say they don't have mouth to speak or they don't have the intelligence to speak, but the nature will speak for them. Were you not here when the whole world, I mean, was shaken by one tiny itty bitty virus, so-called virus. The virus, they are also living organisms, right? And the whole world was shaken by that. That our movement was restricted, financial, I mean, gains, our economy, everything was shutting down. People were dying, and it was all by one insignificant, I don't know whether bacteria or virus, which actually shook the whole world. And from what people are saying, they are saying that this virus came from unregulated meat eating. That somewhere in China or whatever, they were trying to eat some abominable, I mean, animals, and that is how come that virus came into human society and it was killing us like anything. Now they said one there is this called hunter virus. I don't know, another one will come, whatever virus and all that. But sometimes most people, we have this conspiracy theories. They will say, "Oh, this was manufactured in a laboratory." My brother, laboratory cannot manufacture. Who gave that person the intelligence to do all these things? These organisms, they're also living organisms. They cannot be manufactured. They cannot. These scientists in a laboratory cannot create life. These organisms, they are actually living entities as well. No scientist in the laboratory can create life, even a bacteria. They can only create facilities which will attract those bacteria to come, but they cannot create any bacterial in the laboratory. So the conspiracy theorists are saying, no, this was created in some laboratory somewhere, and somehow the other they brought to depopulate the world. It might be true that the whole point is to depopulate, but it is not true that these viruses are created by the scientists, but because they do not have that ability. It is by the laws of material nature, the modes of material nature. It is called at the Deva Klesha. They are missions called by the higher ups, the higher beings, to punish those of us who are actually causing lots of harm to this world and to this planet. Therefore, they group all of them together, and then we call mass slaughter by natural disaster, right? You cannot blame it on one person. Because if the COVID-19 is happening, how would you blame it on anybody? They'll tell you, I mean, I'm not at fault. It is a virus which is actually acting on its own. So if you want to blame anybody, blame the virus. Like I remember in Ghana, all governments were blaming the economic decline on the virus. If I mean anything which happens, they will say it is the virus. I mean, you understand what has happened? A small, insignificant organism is causing so much turmoil in the world. But then we think we are controllers. We think we are superior. We think we know. We think we can do this the research. We think we can do the vaccine and all that. Do you think that it is your vaccine which can actually cause a sick man to get healed? You think it is your medication, your pharmaceutical concoction, which can actually bring life to others? No. If one is destined to die, you might put him on the best of drugs in the world to cure him. He will still leave his body. So everything is prearranged by the most of material nature. And because we are doing all these heinous sinful activities, we are always going to suffer these reactions. And nobody is left out. Nobody. Therefore, we should be extremely careful of activities. We are sacrificing animals like anything, all in the name of material pursuits. People will slaughter, I mean, hundreds of animals hundreds of fowls, hundreds of cows, hundreds of whatever, just to gain some material things. And you think that the animals that you are slaughtered, you are going to be, I mean, nobody's going to ask you any question because you did it in the dark. But I tell you, even darkness has eyes. The moon is one of the eyes of God. The sun is the eye of God. So we should not think that we are doing anything in secrecy that we are not going to be liable for it. If nobody has seen, darkness has seen. The direction with which we are doing the activity, it has been recorded in the Akashic record. So we should be wary of our activities. Text 22. If a foolish member of a twice-born class, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, forces his wife to drink his semen out of lusty desire to keep her under control, he is put after death into the hell known as Lala Baksha. There he is thrown into a flowing river of semen, which he is forced to drink. Purport: the practice of forcing one's wife to drink one's own semen is a black art practiced by extremely lusty persons. Those who practice this very abominable activity say that if a wife is forced to drink her husband's semen, she remains very faithful to him. Generally, low-class men engage in this black art, but if a man born in a higher class does so, after death he is put into the hell known as Lala Baksha. There he is immersed in a river known as Sukra Nadi and forced to drink semen. This is crazy. Some people out of extreme lusty conditions would want to do this. And then society would say it is normal. If you want to keep your marriage, then do this. But then when you go and you are suffering the reactions, it's not your husband or your wife who is going to stand behind that. Oh, this was what was going to help our marriage stand. This is crazy. This is not even done by animals. Animals do not do like this. But then human beings, human civilization, so-called civilization is encouraging this. And then we say this is civilization. This is also said to be illicit sex. So when we say no illicit sex, this also is included. The semen is said it is sometimes called the vitality, the force of life. And therefore it should be used to bring life. After all, the semen is said to be like 90% made of water. And another name of water is called Nara, or another name, sometimes we call it, is it Jala or something. And it is also said to be the source of life. That anything we do, if we want to have purification, we use water. If we want to have, before we start any purificatory activity, there's a need to sanctify and cleanse ourselves with water. Therefore, the semen of man is extremely potent. It is extremely vital, that it is meant to remain in the body, to actually nourish the man, to have fine brain tissues, to think of higher pursuits of life. But then if it is now being shared as a consumable activity, then that is hellish. That is misfortune. That is worth punishing, because it is not human. It is not. We are living in a world where created things are not accepted as normal. And then the religious standard that have been declined, they are being said to be abnormal. We are accepting values of an insane world. And then we call it civilization, or we are highly civilized. We are not, but this is barbaric. Prabhupada said let's repeat. The practice of forcing one's wife to drink one's own semen is a black art practiced by extremely lusty persons. Those who are burning by this fire of lust will do this. And these people are in a lower form of life. They are not intelligent, actually. They are animals, even lower than that of animals. And because they are misusing this human form of life, this machine, this human form of life is extremely expensive. And is meant for cultivating the highest principles of life. So if as a human being we are engaging in these abominable things, then we are going to be punished extremely by the most or the laws of material nature. Those who practice this is very abominable activity, and they say that if the wife is forced to drink her husband's semen, then she remains very faithful to him. I mean, from where did all these crazy things come from? The wife is going to remain faithful to you by your faithfulness in protecting, in nurturing, in providing for her, giving her a sense of security and protection and shelter, but not forcing her to take your semen. That is ghastly. So for such people, they are going to be thrown in this hell, and they are also going to be forced to drink semen because that is the reaction from it. And I mean, the proper continue to say, generally, low class men engage in this black art. But if a man is born in a higher class and he does so after that, he's put in a hell known as Lala Paksha. So one who is intelligent, one who has got the fortune to understand this, should not engage in this sinful activity. Should not. So text 27. In these words, some persons are professional plunderers who set fire to others' houses or administer poison to them. Also, members of royalty or government officials sometimes plunder mercantile men by forcing them to pay income tax and by other methods. After that, such demons, I mean, such demons, they're not saying such political people or such diplomats, like we will put them nicely. But I mean, they say such demons are put into the hell known as Sada Meyadana. On that planet, there are 720 dogs with teeth as strong as that of the thunderbolts. Under the orders of the agents of Yamaraj, these dogs ferociously devour such sinful people. So, for such people who are claimed to be political leaders or kings or government officials, and then they will put extreme tax on people, on goods and services, forcing people to actually, I mean, become extremely uncomfortable. These are said to be demons. What is the meaning of a demon? A demon is one who actually causes others and to be in anxiety. Anybody who puts others in anxiety is a demon. A demon is not one who has horns, who is red or reddish black in complexion, having ugly body. No. A demon is one who puts others in anxiety, especially the innocent in anxiety. That is a demon. So these governments are forcing people to pay these high amounts of income taxes. And the funny thing is that it's not just because they are paying high so that it is going to come back to them as subsidies to help them have better standard of living. No, they are forcing them to pay this high income tax to enrich themselves. And when sometimes the change of governments, these politicians, they are rushing, they will say whatever means necessary, whatever they need to say to appeal on the emotions of others to vote for them. And they are not crying for people to vote for them because they really want to actually put the country or the society into the highest standard, but then rather to enrich themselves. And once they get authority, they say, finally. finally, like it is over. Now I can actually I will take off this mask of the lamb and show my very ferocious form. This is what we call, they will say, politics. I mean, making it seem as if it is okay. But these are demons. They are demons, and they are going to suffer. They think now because they are in power, or because you are in power, you have authority, you have control, you can manipulate justice, I mean the law to suit your own ambitions. Therefore, nobody has the right to question you. Nobody has the right to say you are doing what? Yes, politics. Yes, Prabhupada will say democracy is actually demon crazy. The demons are crazy, and therefore they'll say democracy. Why the majority carries the vote? But then, my dear devotees, what if the majorities are fools? Then we have the king of the fools who is going to lead the people, and we'll say, oh, why our leaders like this? Why? It's because the we say majority carries the vote, right? We have actually a gang of thieves who elect the senior most thief among them to rule. And once he's doing his duty of stealing, you are lamenting, oh, these people are plunderers, these people are thieves, they are not giving us. No, we are the cause. We say the leader is the sum aggregate consciousness of the followers. So therefore, we should not blame any politician who come and play their politics. We are actually liable because we ourselves, we are plunderers, and we have elected the best amongst us to rule us. So we should not blame them, but we should blame our own selves. We say charity begins at home. But then in our home, we are teaching our children how to steal, how to lie, how to commit these crimes. We will say they are petty, petty. Oh, this is just petty, petty. But that petty will sum up and become pretty awesome, quite huge. And now you cannot correct and you blame them. No political leader will come from a different country to come and rule you. It is your own person who have been groomed, born, and bred in that society, on that community, who will stand out to be a leader. So if our leaders are becoming problematic, then we should check the followers. We should check within our homes. We should check within our society. We should check within our circles what we are doing. Don't be blaming your political leader. Why? Because he did not just, perhaps only if it is coup d'etat or something. You voted that person into power, and now he's coming to do what he was being voted to do, and you are blaming him. So of course they will say don't. I mean they will say don't blame me. We say that the aggregate consciousness of the followers, of the leader, is that of the followers.
Yeah.
Therefore, we should be careful. So we should know that we should know that all these activities that they are doing, they are going to suffer in hell. They are going to suffer in this kind of hell, where these dogs, these ferocious dogs with sharp teeth, are going to rip up their bodies into pieces, but then they will not die. But then they'll be crying, oh, why did I give so much tax? I should have at least given small tax. Oh, please forgive me. I will not do this I will not do this again. But then you lie. You have to be punished because so far as we are putting people in agony by forcing them to pay something with which they cannot afford, that is demonic. It is said that a government or a political leader, we should be like the rain cycle. Those who know the rain cycle, the when the sun heats, the scorch of the sun will absorb, I mean, particles from the water from the ocean, and then keeps it in storage as the clouds. And when it is necessary, that same sun will condense those clouds, and then they will fall as rainfall. So similarly, political leaders or government officials will take income tax from the people, and then he will keep it, and then he will share it, distribute. Rainfall means that when it's falling, it does not say this is a stone, I'm not going to put water, it does not need it. Or this is the ocean, it has enough water, it does not need. No, everybody has equal share of the rainfall. So that is how a government is supposed to be. Once you are taking from the people, you keep and you distribute accordingly, equally. But then if we are only keeping in the sky, it's going to become dense, dense darkness. The rain clouds will be dense. It is dense, it is dark, it cannot rain, but it is stuck. So for these political, ambitious, power drunk people who force people to take this unnecessary or high amount of income tax, this is what is going to avoid them. Text 28. A person who in this life bears false witness or lies while transacting business or giving charity is severely punished after death by the agents of Yamaraj. Such a sinful man is taken to the top of a mountain 800 miles high and thrown headfirst into the hell known as Avichimat. This hell has no shelter and is made of strong stone resembling waves of water. There is no water there. However, and thus it is called Avichimat, waterless. Although a sinful man is repeatedly thrown from the mountain and his body broken into tiny pieces, he still does not die, but continuously suffer chastisement. So just imagine like water, this the rains of the sea, and it is static as stones, sharp stones, and one is thrown head first. I like that part, head first. So you'll be thrown with your head facing downward, and then you crash on these sharp, strong, stones. Your body shattered into pieces, but still you're not going to die. You'll be crying in agony. Why? Because you bear false witness. You were not there. You say I was there. Actually, I was the one who gave him this and that, but then you were not there. So those who bear false witness, this is the hellish planet waiting for us. We have lawyers who are bending the law to suit a criminal to give him justice. And we think I am very intelligent. Oh, I am very intelligent. I am very eloquent. Therefore, I can speak my way out. The law. But even if you're able to overcome the laws of the land, of whatever land you come from, you cannot overcome the laws of nature. And you are bearing false witness. Oh, my client did not do this, he did not do that, he is innocent because this, and that. You bring fake witnesses to come and actually, support his claim and all that. And you're a smart lawyer. You have actually found your way out of the law. And you think you're going to be safe, or you've paid your way out. Such people are going to suffer. And those who, not just those who bear witness, but those who also transact business and giving charity with falsity. Oh, I actually bought this, I mean, $10,000. But because of you, because I like you so much, you are first time customer. Therefore, I'm going to give it to you for not so. I'll give it to you for, very very reasonable amount of price. And then you ask him, so how much are you going to give it to me? And you say, I'm going to give it to you for $999.9. Therefore, you are just a friend. Therefore, I just want to. But it is a lie. He bought this thing for $10. So people who cheat by business, you think this is business, it is normal. But then because you're actually exaggerating the price of goods and services and making things uncomfortable for people, it is punishable. Text 29. And we're going to be concluding soon. Okay, just a minute. Any Brahmana or a Brahmana's wife who drinks liquor is taken by the agents of Yamaraj to the hell known as Ayapana. This hell also awaits any Kshatriya, Vaishya, or person under a vow who is in illusion, drinks Soma Ras. In Ayapana, the agents of Yamaraj stand on their chest and pour hot melted liquor or melted iron, into their mouth. So one who is a Brahmana, a priest, the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, and they are taking alcohol or swaha, swaha, and the next time, no, you think you're taking alcohol. A Brahmana is a priest. So one who is a priest is supposed to live by the highest moral values and teach others to also remain or lead the highest of moral conduct. If you are taking alcohol and you think, oh, this is sumaras, or I mean, this is in Sefufu way, it's natural. This is not. No, one is going to be taken to this kind of hell where iron, which is melted, will be poured down your throat. Take this and drink. And then there they will say cheers. You know, when people are they'll say they'll have their beer and then they'll clink cheers. And then I don't know what is cheerful about that. I mean, they said that system. I don't know. I mean, quite that system is from the time of the Vikings. Whenever they meet their fellow friends and they do not trust them, they will crash their bottles against each other. So what happens is that so that if you might have poisoned me, and when you crash your drinks like this, the some drops of my drink will enter yours, and some of yours will also enter mine. Therefore, we will agree to disagree to understand that because we have mixed our beverages, you have not poisoned me and I have not poisoned you. So it's a cheerful activity, and then we drink. But these days, when you do cheers, cheers means that I mean you might have been poisoned because you are having this bottle and it will not drip to the other side, and you will drink and you the next moment you are gone. People are going to clubs and then they are being poisoned in the clubs and all that. No, I'm not a sannyasi. I'm not. I'm a brahmachari or a das, a dana das, Krishna nature das. So those who are priests who take these liquor are surely going to be punished. And people will think, oh, but then alcohol is needed. I hear people say like this, but we need alcohol, right? Alcohol is needed. My dear, do you know that even rice, when fermented, produces alcohol? Even maize, when fermented, produces alcohol. Even sugar, when produces alcohol. So don't think that you need any excess alcohol or dry alcohol in your body again. You know what? The term alcohol actually, anybody who takes alcohol will become susceptible for hobgoblins and other lower animals because it brings your vibration down. Therefore, sometimes it is called gin. You know, gin, very sharp alcohol. Gin is also another term for elementals. They call them genies or jinns. Sometimes it is called spirit because these things are actually used to invoke beings of lower frequencies. So when we take alcohol in your body, you're actually making your body susceptible to be consumed or to be manipulated by these lower beings. That is why those who are worshiping, those who do these kind of lower worships, they need to use this alcohol because it is sharp. It is passionate. It's very sharp, and it attracts. If you want to do things quickly in the mode of passion, ignorance, they use alcohol. So alcohol in its raw state is not consumable. Whatever food you take in your body, the body has been Krishna has the intelligence that there are mechanisms in your body where can actually make or create the alcohol content which the body needs to survive. So if you put any extra alcohol in your body, you are abusing it. You are abusing it. Therefore, in Chi or Akan language, we will say wabro. Bro means that you have exceeded. You have exceeded the limit. There's a limitation for it, but then you are exceeding it. And therefore, you become intoxicated. You lose your senses. You cannot have control over your senses. They'll tell you don't drink and drive. But they do not know that this body in itself is a vehicle. So when you drink, you cannot drive this vehicle as well. Not this machinery we are drinking. This body is called yantra. Yantra means a vehicle. So anybody who drinks cannot drive this vehicle. You lose your license, your credibility to drive this vehicle of this body. Therefore, anybody who actually takes alcohol abuses his own self. Text 30, then we take question and answers. A low. Oh, did we read the purport? Okay, purport. One should not be a Brahmana in name only and engage in all kinds of sinful activities, especially drinking liquor. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas must behave according to the principles of their order. If they fall down to the levels of a Sudra, then who consume to, or who are accustomed to drink liquor, they must be punished. They will punished as described herein. Text 30. A low-born and abominable person who in this life becomes falsely proud, thinking I am great. That is the descendants of Alexander the Great. And who thus fails to show proper respect to one more elevated than he by birth, austerity, education, behavior, caste, or spiritual order is like a dead man even in this lifetime, and after death he is thrown headfirst into the hell. I like that part, the head first. Into the hell known as Sadakadama. There he must suffer great tribulation at the hands of the agents of Yamaraj. Purport: one should not become falsely proud. One must be respectful towards a person more elevated than he by birth, education, behavior, caste, or spiritual order. If one does not show respect to such highly elevated persons, but indulges in false pride, he thinks and he receives punishments in Sara Kardama. So sometimes we are thinking, oh, I'm boss. I am the Lord of all that I survey. I am high and mighty. I am that I am. Who are you, Baba? You are nobody. You are an insignificant part of the cosmic manifestation. You are tiny, tiny, even lower than a grain of sand in the shoreless ocean. So who are you? So sometimes people are proud. They are so proud that they get intoxicated by pride. So when we say intoxication or when one is intoxicated, one can be intoxicated by pride also. That you become so learned that you think that you are high and mighty. You become so learned that you become a fool. You know the contrast. You become so knowledgeable that pride of knowledge makes you a fool. So one who is actually conscious or Krishna conscious should be careful of this demon of what? This demon of what? Pride. Because pride can burn, it can destroy. It can destroy. Pride has the power to destroy all activities, all I mean practices that we have done all these years. Pride will do what? It will actually diminish all our piety. It will put it into dismay. Sometimes also we are proud of our humility. Oh, I'm very humble, you know. I mean, holier than thou, by humility, I'm down. And sometimes people though will be explaining about who they are. You say, oh, I'm a very humble person. Who told you you're humble? I am down at, like this. No, this is you are advertising your humility, which is also pride. You take pride of humility. You are so humble that you are pride. You are proud of your humility. So please, we should be extremely mindful of our activities. Extremely mindful. Because pride, nobody likes an arrogant person. And when you become arrogant, you lose your intelligence. Your intelligence means that you have the ability to discriminate between right and wrong. But because you are falsely proud, you cannot discriminate. Therefore, you become susceptible to to ignorance, and therefore your rationality, your ability to distinguish between good and bad is lost. Therefore, we should be extremely careful of pride. Otherwise, this hellish planet also awaits us. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we're going to end here. I mean, the reading here and text 30, Bhagavatam Canto 5, chapter 26, text 30. So from tomorrow, we are going to read from 30 upwards. From 30 upwards. So if anybody has any question or comments, please feel free to
There's a
to
question.
say. So we are going to perhaps the next 2 or 3 episodes we are going to be done with it, this hellish one, and then we move on to another one. Okay, what's the
Okay.
question?
Please, can you explain chakra and how important in our daily life?
Chakra. There are many chakras. Are we talking about Sudarshan chakra? Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Chakra.
Chakra, they are the energy fields within our body. That in our body we have different energy fields, or sometimes they're called kundalini, where different, energies are being stored. And when we are elevating in our spiritual activity, they rise to the next level and ultimately gets to the crown chakra, where at that point we say that we have actually attained the absolute realization. So the chakras, they are also, when one is doing hatha yoga, these things are more emphasized. But in Bhakti Yoga, we don't really talk about it much. Why? Because in practice of Bhakti, insusceptibly, all the chakras have been taken care of. Because if one is able to control his genitalia, he's able to move his vitality, his energy force from that of the lower chakra, at the genitalia, then it rises up to that of the navel, between the navel and the belly. Then at that point, also one is able to control his eating habits. He does not take any, food which has not been offered in devotion with God. Then it rises to the chest. Or one will be seeing that every living entity is actually part and parcel of God. And when it gets to the heart or the throat, then we are going to speak about only things which are going to help us actually, I mean, remind ourselves about Krishna. We talk about God only. It is only at that time where we become truthful, because we are going to talk about absolute truth only. So when it gets to the highest point where we realize that we are actually, every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna, and we are all part and parcel of Krishna. And at that point, we have reached a point where for the yogis, they can transfer their soul to different parts, or different parts of the material coverings. Or if they are bhakti yogis, then they can be able to transfer the soul to that of the spiritual world. So in basic terms, that is what in bhakti we describe the chakras are. But in Hatha Yoga, they have this funny way of talking about it and all that. So that is what I can say. So by practice of bhakti, our chakras get opened, they get elevated, the energy points from the lowest to the highest, and finally to that of the supreme. So for bhaktis, we only always leave there is a hair at the back of the head, where it is said that that is the last region where it is always closed. So at the point of this, the bhakta or the bhakti yogis, that is where their soul will pass through and then quit this body. So you could see that from all traditions in Islam, even in Christianity, that side of the head is kind of at the occiput. It is always protected. The Christian monks will keep some sort of hair, some covering. The cardinals, they have it to cover the popes and all that, to cover the back of the head. In Islam also, even the Jewish tradition also, the Jews, you see them having this cap at the back of the head, the same as in Islam. And in Buddhist also, in Buddhism, the Buddhist monk also have that. So that is to say that at the point where one has actually lived his life, where he has actually elevated his consciousness, that is where the soul will quit the body. And the last chakra, that is the last chakra to deal with. So it has to be opened before one actually quits this body, if we want to transcend to the highest planet. So that is, I mean, according to Hatha Yoga and all that. But with Bhakti does not follow these rules and regulations because it is not under the most of material nature.
Mm.
Yes. So what next question?
Yeah. Say, is a fire in the hell or just a punishment?
Fire, hell is not just fire. Fire, sometimes it is funny that sometimes we attribute hell only with fire or fire with hell only. But fire is the purest element. It is not hellish. Fire purifies. Amongst all the five gross material elements, fire is the best. So when one is doing the highest form of purificatory activity is all done with fire. So hell sometimes, I mean, from the public, I mean the Abrahamic religions, Abrahamic religion in the sense that Christianity and Islam, we talk about hellfire. But hell is not just we've been understanding so far that there are many hellish planets, and fire is just one of them. But there are some which they are like copper planes, different types. So hell is not just a fire, but hell can also be a condition. One can be in the material world and be suffering hellish conditions. In the sense that, for example, you are born with difficult, or you are born in a crazy environment, like being born in some part of the world where having food is even a problem because that land is not fertile for food, and security is a problem because there's a war and riots going on over. And as a baby, even while breastfeeding, even breast milk to drink is a problem, and to find peace is a problem. You have to, I mean, it is so that condition is quite hellish, and you are not in hell, but then you are suffering a hellish condition. Hell can be a condition as well as punishment for those who are, I mean, a planet of punishment for those who are deviant to the laws of nature. And for those who are also suffering hell as a condition, that is also a punishment, though. So when we talk about fire and hell, it is not always the case that we attribute hell to fire and fire to hell. No, they are all different, distinctive, I mean, elements, or um, so they have their own, I mean, attributes and what they do. So that's what I can say.
The next question is, I need an explanation about the Brahmana, Sanya, Kshatriya, and the rest. Explanation.
On Brahmana, Kshatriya, and what?
Sanyas.
So we have, according to the civilized order, we have the Vana and the Ashram. In the Ashram, they are the Vana or the Ashram is the spiritual orders of life, where we have the Sannyas, we have the Brahmachari, we have the Vanaprastha, we have the Grihastha, and but then in the material aspects, we have the Brahmana, we have the Kshatriya, we have the Vaishya and the Sudra. So let's start from the Vana. The Vana, they are the society have been categorized into these segments. This is what we call the the body of society, where we have the heads of society, we have the arms of society, we have the legs of society, we have the belly of society. So the heads of society are regarded as the Brahmana or the priestly order. They actually govern or they protect or they bring rules and regulations of the state according to the structure. So they guide the arms of governments, which nowadays we call the politicians or the leaders. So the heads of states are not the presidents. The heads of states are actually the Brahmanas, the priestly order. They call them the councils of state. And the arms of states are supposed to be the military or the administrators. And they are going to be guided by the heads who are the priests by how and what they should not do in trying to bring about stability, growth, and devotion in the land. And then we have the belly. They are called the Vaishyas. The Vaishyas are the mercantile class society. Their purpose is to do agriculture, to do business, to try to feed the other limbs of society. So they are the agriculture or the business class. Then we have the Sudras. The Sudras are the liberal class. They are the legs of society, and they carry the other three, I mean, limbs of society, and they move the limbs of society wherever they want to go. So they are like the liberal class. Then when we come to the spiritual order, it begins from brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the point where one studies under a bona fide spiritual master and then learns the arts of being Krishna conscious, or being conscious of himself and the world around him. So in the brahmacharya stage, one is becomes a celibate student and is living under the protection of the spiritual master and is being trained on how to be a civilized human being. Then, if one wants, one actually goes into the grihastha ashram. The grihastha ashram is the marriage life where one has the ability to bring forth progeny, take care of his wife and family in a Krishna conscious way or in a godly environment. And once one reaches the age of 50, according to the Shastras, one then I mean takes the Vanaprastha order, where he actually starts renouncing himself from all material activities. And then the highest is what we call the sannyas. And at that age, one has no attraction to the material world, and he has made up his mind that he does not want to come back to this material existence again. So he only goes wherever he has the ability to preach about God, and he creates his body in this consciousness of talking about God and remembering God. So this is basically the understanding of the Varna ashram system, or the system of the material and then the spiritual orders of life. So basically, that is what we can say in basic terms.
Next question.
Mm.
Prabhu, will one be in hell forever?
No, hell is not an eternal place. Hell is based on sentence. Once your karma is due, one leaves hell. Hell is not an eternal place. Similarly, heaven is also an eternal place. So hell is only according to material, according to our karma or whatever punishment that, how many years that we deserve to go there, according which is being judged by Yamaraj. Following the laws of material nature. Then when that time is due, one is then released. So hell is not eternal, actually.
I think so.
Another question.
Mm.
So if there is no other question, what I didn't make is to 50 years. Yes, now it seems quite impractical. So I mean, in Kali Yoga, trying to practice these things are quite difficult because, it's, if you really want to be truthful to ourselves, also, it's quite practical. Residues of what of these system is still practiced this day. Like now, retirement age. What is retirement age? If even you are working in a government institution, at the age of 60, I presume generally, one has to retire. And retire means that it's not just that retiring from your professional duties, but also retiring from the world, actually, from all these connections with the world, and now focusing on your part of transcendence, of trying to create this world. So yes, this time, sometimes even at the age of 50 years, that is when one is even entering into the marriage life. So at that point, how can one actually follow the system? But this is the highest principle that has been given by the Shastras, and if we really want to really achieve the highest, then we can apply ourselves by this. And so it might not be able to start with us, but we can start it with our children and then groom them and train them in this way. This is what we call family planning. Family planning is that you plan your children, you plan your own lives in a way that you leave this world without regrets, knowing well that you have actually done what you have been expected of, and you are living this world with peace, and knowing what that you have done, you've paid your dues. Dues means that you don't have any karma to suffer or enjoy, and you can now quickly go back to the spiritual world. So um so if there are any questions or comments, please, um if there are any question or questions, we can end. So if there are no further questions, I think we can end the class here. Thank you very much for joining.
Please, how can one purify his mind and soul?
By engaging in sadhana. Sadhana means spiritual activities. By how do we engage in spiritual activities? Sadhana means that our mind, we have something called mantra meditation. Mantra meditation is when our mind is being absorbed in thinking of the divine. We are we are engaging the mind in the higher frequencies. We are engaging our mind in spiritual activities, and utilizing the power of the mind to connect to God. Do you know that it is said that even the people with the highest IQ, they die not using even 90% or let's say 80% of their brain power? Because most of us, we die with we leave this body without really exploring the power of the mind. And mind you, the mind is different from the brain. So as living entities, we have the ability to actually fully utilize the mind. And how can we do that? By actually reconnecting the mind to that of the divine by the practice of what we call mantra meditation. Mantra meditation is extremely powerful. In this day and age where we are looking for peace, we are looking for tranquility, we are looking for calmness. We should not be looking for that peace externally. We should not be thinking any political leader is going to give us peace or any social activist is going to give us peace. But that peace can be found within when we are in tuned with our inner selves, when we try to fine tune the noise of this world and listen to the silence within the hearts, we hear the super soul, the communication of God within the heart. Actually, God is within the heart of every living entity. He's residing there as a super soul. Therefore, it is necessary that one actually calm the senses by engaging the mind in the service of God, by thinking about him through reading of the scriptures, by mantra meditation, by associating with saints, like-minded people, and by taking food which has been first offered in sacrifice to God. And I mean, utilizing our whole existence to also serve others in this regard by reminding them of their maker. So when we busy the mind in doing that activity, then the mind is not free to move around and do anything anyhow. But the mind will be regulated under, Krishna conscious or God conscious activities. So we purify the mind by engaging the mind in the supreme pure, which is God. So in Bible, it is even said, "Blessed are those who are pure in heart, for they shall see God." So if we have the purity of the heart, the purity of the consciousness of that of the mind, then we have the ability to see the divine. But then without purity of heart, without purity of mind, it will be extremely difficult to see God. People are thinking it is impossible. You cannot see God. Yes, it is. It is possible, but we're not with these eyes. With these eyes, when ECG takes off their lights, then they're completely blind. No. But then one has to have this pulp of devotion, which is going to be sprinkled on the eyes. And that pulp of devotion comes by practice. By practicing sadhana or related spiritual activity, one can have that purity of mind and consciousness to be able to be in unison with the divine. Uh, Prabhu, sometimes telling people truth break family would advise that they say the truth no matter what. Sometimes telling people truth break family. Would you advise that they say the truth no matter what? Well, yes. Quite a couple of days ago, I think I was speaking with somebody. Then the person was telling me that he is actually a lab technician. Just try to understand the story. And there is this lady who came by, and the lady came to do a scan. And from the scan, it showed perfectly that the lady was not pregnant. But then, um, I don't know. The husband was no. The lady was not actually what was it? Was not pregnant. They don't have any fetus in the belly. Why? Because the lady actually went to abort the baby within the stomach. But then she's trying to convince the husband that the baby is still there, because the husband told him that if she goes to do the scan and there's no child there, then she should not come back to the house. She should go and stay with the family. And now this devotee was telling me that the lady came and told him that after the result came, he should falsify and tell him that there's a child there. And because the lady was crying like anything, that if he does not do this for him, her marriage is not going to last. Therefore, he cannot even return back to his husband and all that. So he was in dilemma. But then he had to, I think he helped the lady by. So I told him, I mean, this is the same situation that Arjuna was going through. Arjuna's situation was that I am a Kshatriya. I have a duty to fight and protect Dharma. I have the duty to kill the demons or the criminals. But then these criminals are also, I have sentiments for them. These criminals are also, they are also my cousins. They are also the people that I actually, I mean, I have so much sentiments for. So how, in what world can I kill these people? But the Lord said you should do your duty. It is better to do your duty and even not do it properly than trying to do another's duty. So don't think that if you are a lab technician, like, so I told them, the devotee, that you shouldn't have done that. It is your duty to actually be professional in terms of the code and conduct, the ethics that you're supposed to follow, by telling the person the truth. And after all, if she lies to her husband that she has a baby, I mean, you cannot hide pregnancy. The husband will be waiting. There's no child. So how long are you going to last? It will be better that you tell her the truth, and then later on you try to apologize and try to rectify things. But if you try to expand the lie, to cover up the lie, and to tell the husband that you're actually pregnant for all these years and all this time, and later on it turns out to be a big lie, that will actually destroy the marriage for good. So the kind of the similar situation that Jonah was in. This is why the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. That he was thinking, oh, why there are sentiments. I want to protect my this thing with it. So therefore I'm trying to protect them by not telling the truth. But the truth disguised does not, I mean, lie covered does not still make it a truth. So no matter the situation, we should try to stick to the truth. We should be honest. If the more we become honest to ourselves and others, the more we have the ability to talk about the divine. Because God is said to be the supreme absolute truth. So when we are talking about the absolute truth, then nothing can actually, I mean, everything that comes out of our mouth will be powerful. Because our tongue is only be used to vibrate the holy names of God, and also that of, I mean, talking about God. So that is what I would say, J. Falcons. Prabhu, can the fear of saying the truth block you from your chakra? Yes, if you don't speak the truth, it's not even about chakra. If you don't speak the truth, it is actually going to affect us, because, I mean, it says, speak the truth and the truth will set you free, right? So if you do not speak the truth and you try to hide, you try to decorate, you try to make it look palatable to the ears of others, meanwhile it is a lie. It is not going to do any good, you know. So telling lie actually complicates the situation. It lies as a result of fear. And where there is fear, it means there is impurity. There is sin. But where there is truth, it means that there is divinity, there is fortitude, there is steadfastness, there is sincerity. So if in the absence of fear is what is divinity, is when one is actually in connection with the divine. So shouldn't be any chance where we should try to falsify. We should always tell the truth and stand by the truth. And we should be ready, because in this world, anybody who tries to speak the truth is not seen as a cool guy. Is actually always seen as a very crazy fellow. Because what we are accepting as truth these days are quite funny. They're not actually truth. So when you try to speak the truth, try to abide by the truth, stand by the truth, you're not going to be liked by most people. But if you are also looking for likes and followers, then speaking the truth will be very difficult. So, innocence. After purifying the heart, the soul and the mind, then see Krishna, then can I see ghosts too? Why would you want? I mean, this is crazy. Why would you want to see ghosts if you are seeing the divine?
Hmm.
If you are seeing God Himself, what, I mean, to what I mean, ghost is crazy. It's nasty. Why? I mean, why would you want to look for a ghost if you can see God? What is? I don't know. I remember some time ago, people were calling God Holy Ghost. I don't know what that is what they're talking about. And now they realize that ghosts cannot be attributed to God, so therefore they say Holy Spirit, which is better. I mean, so probably you are talking about Holy Ghost, and maybe I can understand. But I mean, for ghosts, as in, I mean, a bodiless creature, I mean, there's not something a gentleman would want to see. So, innocence, please don't be aspiring to look for ghosts and spirits, but we should be looking for actually having the purity to see God. And do not let anybody tell you that you cannot see God. I mean, sometimes the Bible will say, what is it said? Any eyes that see God shall die.
Hmm.
Die in this sense means that you're going to, I mean, die as in leave the body, but you're going to die in a sense, you're going to lose all material attachments. You are going to be in the world, but not of the world. All things which are worldly will not be attracted to you because you've seen something which is outside this world. So, what is the point of being attracted by anything within this world? And of course, it could be that you could die as well, in the sense that, I mean, you cannot see something which is higher than what your body can take. So if you have not actually prepared, and of course, God will not reveal Himself to somebody who cannot have the ability to see Him. I mean, He's the most intelligent. He will not do that. So, I mean, that is what it means. So I think it's safe today. We spent quite a lengthy time, and I think it's safe we can end the class here and continue tomorrow, Krishna willing. So thank you very much for joining, and you can follow for. I mean, every day we do have a session on, it's called What's the Hell, by understanding different hellish planets and why we should live our lives in such a way that we wouldn't want to, I mean, complicate our lives. And if you might have just joined in and you want to listen to what we discussed earlier, you can go to, it's called Kumase on YouTube, ISKCON. It is live on YouTube as well. And that is session 5 today. You can go and, I mean, have a playback of whatever you want to have understanding. Or you could also send us personal DMs and we'll try to respond accordingly. So thank you very much for joining and wish everybody a wonderful day and may we all be blessed.